Former Congressman Jason Chaffetz is a Fox News contributor, and the Attorney General knows that this is part of the job. In a way, I think he enjoys kind of the grilling that he gets because he gets to have his voice heard. But there's an awful lot of no comment that happens. You know, at Justice Department, you learn 101 ways to say no comment. Jason, what do you think is the most important thing that could try to get him to answer today? Any potential mishandling of classified documents?
Well, I think the Attorney General is going to talk about the 110,000 people there at the Department of Justice and the integrity that they bring to the job. But then a senator will quickly say, well, what about that FBI agent who was accused of taking money from a Russian oligarch? What about the 1,000 pages from the Inspector General that have been produced, making about 12 different recommendations for potential prosecution of people within the Department of Justice that have abused the law? How come you didn't even pursue one of those in terms of prosecution? And Mr. Attorney General, how come you said you were going to be open, transparent, and comply, as Senator Cruz was asking you, and yet Jim Jordan duly issues a subpoena asking for documents related to the targeting of parents at school board meetings? That subpoena was due at 9 a.m. this morning, and based on the contacts and friends that I still have over there in the House of Representatives, the Department of Justice produced less than 12 pages of documents related to that subpoena. Why aren't you complying with that subpoena? So there's lots to ask him, very specific and pointed.
So we'll see how far he goes on the answers as opposed to deferring, and deflecting, which has happened a lot in the past. Let me take you back to last night, Bret with the FBI director on the Hunter Biden probe. It went like this, Jason. Watch.
Why is this investigation on the Hunter Biden laptops taking so long?
Well, the investigation is being led, as you may know, by a U.S. attorney appointed in the last administration out of Delaware, and the FBI is actively supporting and working with that U.S. attorney on that investigation.
But the whistleblowers are telling these lawmakers that there was an internal effort to shut down the investigation from the beginning. Have you found that?
I have not found anything like that.
I get that first part of the answer. I think is what Garland's going to do a lot of today. He's going to deflect again. Anyway, on the Hunter Biden matter, does that clear anything up for you?
No, he's just stating the obvious. He's repeating the question in a different form. These people are professionals at testifying. That's why they got their jobs, quite frankly. Wray was supposed to be an agent of change, and he hasn't been.
The other thing that they'd asked him about, that Bret asked him about, was the social media bans and any FBI involvement. Here's what he said.
Is it appropriate to flag social media accounts on Twitter or elsewhere due to politics or government policies when it comes to COVID?
We don't tell social media companies to ban accounts.
But you suggest.
What we do is tell social media companies about information that we have about foreign disinformation campaigns by foreign actors, by foreign intelligence services. And those companies then make decisions.
And yet, Jason, it does feel like if the FBI suggests something, you know, companies out there might think, I better do it.
Yeah, especially when the former general counsel at the FBI works at Twitter. You think that they're probably going to actually listen to those recommendations. And if they had a dragnet of more than 80 different agents working on this, how many people did they prosecute? What laws were being broken? Why is it, based on the Twitter files that were released by Elon Musk, why is it that you were recommending that, you know, there was a violation of terms of service and you might want to consider taking that person down? Though it has nothing to do with breaking the law. We don't put 80 people on going and finding the killer that they found in Idaho, and yet they'll put 80 people out there to suppress people's political opinions on social media.
Mm-hmm. Jason, thank you. Cincinnati, Ohio today. We'll see you in New York again soon.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.